Hello, this is Lisa Hanley, and I wanted to share with you my true Christmas miracle story. And for those that don't like videos and don't like the suspense, I'm going to give you the punchline right away. I was actually diagnosed last November with lymphoma, and it was a very scary time for myself and my family. And I just found out this last Friday that it's confirmed that I do not have lymphoma. And so how did we get to this point, and how did we get this Christmas miracle is a whole nother story. And for those who want to find out why you should have second opinions, why you should call your insurance companies to see what they'll pay for, why I'm very grateful for my health share who was willing to pay for a second biopsy, and grateful for the fact that it is a Christian insurance, and they had taken a lot of stress off of me and my family by saying that I'd been past my deductible and I was going to be taken care of. So here is, for those of you that knew that I was going through this, thank you for the prayers, because I truly feel that the prayers helped, and that's why I call it my Christmas miracle. And for those who didn't know, this may explain a little bit of my reasons of absence at things like Rotary and other events that I would normally go to, but I was definitely struggling with my diagnosis of lymphoma. For those that know me and have worked with me, with the clients that I've been still working with, that I never said anything because truthfully it was so much easier to help other people than to worry about what was going to be my future. So this all started in August when I was having some pain, pelvic pain. Couldn't figure out what was going on. It wasn't an urinary tract infection, wasn't a kidney infection. They couldn't find an infection at all. And so, kind of a long story short on that, I finally got in with a urologist who was just like, you have been dealing with this pain for a long time. This was in October, so it started in August. In October, my urologist said, why are they waiting so long to do a CAT scan? Because they had scheduled a CAT scan in November, and this was October. And he said, why are they waiting so long to do a CAT scan? Let's see what's going on. So they did a CAT scan and found that I had a kidney stone that was lodged in my ureter. So that was where the pain was coming from. But when they did that CAT scan, they then also found a mass in me. And it's over an inch long. It's in between my stomach and my pancreas. And at first they thought it was on my pancreas. So thank God it was not that. But so I had actually, what people didn't know, people knew that I was getting my kidney stone removed, but a lot of people didn't know that I was actually having a biopsy done on that Monday before. So Monday I was having a biopsy done where they had to go knock me out, go through my throat, down and do an ultrasound and a biopsy through my throat. And then Wednesday I had the kidney stone removed and a stent in. And then Friday I went to California, and believe it or not, I was in a lot of pain, but I already paid for the tickets, and my doc said, if you can handle the pain, go. So I went. It wasn't a lot of fun going, but I went. And then fast forward to a couple weeks, I hadn't heard anything on the biopsy. And in my mind, I thought, no news is good news. They would have called me if it would have been cancerous. And anyway, I get this letter in the mail 2 weeks later that says I have lymphoma. Whew, talk about a spiral. And so needless to say, it was really hard. It was a lot of emotions. I never have understood the emotions and the depth your brain may take you to, dark sides, when people are given the diagnosis of cancer. And so I kind of went there. I gave myself, a little bit to kind of allow myself to grieve, be angry, all of that. Went through all of that. And then called and had to find a hematologist, oncologist, and got scheduled with her. Dr. Singh is fantastic, super positive. I leaned on my friends who have gone through cancer or are going through cancer right now to kind of help me through the onset of everything that I was dealing with, the emotions. And Dr. Singh was fantastic. She, met with her in the office, and she said, go to Vegas, because I had a trip to Vegas. Go to see your daughter in the Czech Republic, because I had that trip already planned. We will start treatment when you get back. But I do want to do a second biopsy to find out exactly what kind of lymphoma it is and what stage it's in, because they had done what's called a small needle biopsy. So there are different kind of biopsies, and they had done a small needle biopsy, and they wanted to do a larger sample to figure things out. So as of last Friday, so basically a week from, so what would that date be? I'm so confused on dates, actually. Any which way, so on that Friday, I met with the guy, the same guy that did my biopsy, same guy that diagnosed me. I was sitting there, and the guys was getting ready to get knocked out again, because they got to knock me out again. And oh, by the way, this procedure cost about $19,000, and because I was on a health share, which is kind of a self-pay situation where you have to turn in the bills and then they reimburse them. It's not like an insurance, but it was a $7,000 savings as a self-pay, and so it still cost me $12,000 for each biopsy. So that's a whole nother story about talking about how cancer scares not only scare you from a side of health, but it's also scary from the side of I was scared that I was going to not be around and leave my husband broke. I mean, that was real fear that went through my head. So all these bills kind of pile up. So that's another thing to kind of think about and talk about. But anyway, so I was in there and I was like, hey, didn't we talk that this wasn't going to be cancer, to this doctor? And he comes in and he goes, yeah, I vaguely remember that conversation. And so he kind of prepared me for the treatment, radiation, chemo, and that was on a Friday. So I kind of prepared myself over the weekend, like, okay, when I get back from the Czech Republic, I'm going to be prepared for my life to change, health-wise, hair-wise, going to lose the hair. And so I mentally prepared myself for that. Well, fast forward to the Wednesday of that next week, and all of a sudden I get a call from my doctor, my oncologist, Dr. Singh, who says, hey, Lisa, before you whoop whoop, I want to tell you all the news. And just to let you know that your biopsy actually came back negative for lymphoma. I was like, whoop whoop. And she said, well, this doesn't usually happen, and there isn't really a reason for it. And that's where my Christmas miracle kind of comes into play. But it's one of those things where I was kind of happy, and she said, I want to talk to the doctor, make sure they got a good sample. But we did find a lump in your chest as well, my breast, because I did a PET scan. And if any of you have not heard of a PET scan, because I had not, a PET scan actually goes through, you go into, it's a little bit more of the size of an MRI machine, and it goes through and they shoot you with some dye, and it actually kind of lights up the hot spots that could be cancerous within your body. And so once again, they said, hey, PET scan isn't going to usually be covered by insurance, so you got to make sure that you agree to pay for it. If it's not covered by your insurance, yada, yada, yada. I said, this is my life. Schedule me the PET scan. I want to know if anything else is going to my body. And so that's one way. I just kind of wanted to put that out there that, you know, if you guys have any history of cancer or if you have any concerns and they don't order a PET scan, get a PET scan. It's expensive, but it's definitely worth their life. But so the mass in my stomach did light up. I had some that were in my uterus area, but I've had those tested. I knew those were there, and then I had my lump in my breast lit up as well. And so I did just have a biopsy actually today on that. So crossing my fingers, asking for more prayers on that situation. But they said it looks good, shouldn't be cancerous because of the shape and because of whatever's showing up on the ultrasound. Side note on that, the cats, they knew it was there because of the PET scan. Then I had to do a 3D mammogram, and they had ordered the 3D mammogram and an ultrasound the same day because they had already saw it. Went to the 3D mammogram. It did not show up on the mammogram. You guys, it didn't show up on the mammogram. And I had already had an ultrasound, and we already knew it was there because of the PET scan. So we did the ultrasound. The ultrasound showed that it was there. It's over an inch long. It's like an inch and an inch. So it's not like it was this tiny little spot. It's over an inch. And the 3D mammogram did not see it. And they said, well, that's unusual. And I'm starting to figure out, I'm just unusual. That's what it is. I'm unusual. I'm an unusual case. But anyway, so that's going to be taken care of. But fast forward to what the doctor was saying. And she had said that She wanted to make sure they had a good sample, and that I need to go and get this mammogram done. Well, this last Friday, she called and confirmed that I do not have lymphoma. Woo! Blessings. It's definitely a Christmas miracle. That's what I'm going to call it. So for those of you that prayed for me, that knew this was going on, thank you for your prayers. And for those of you, I tell you what, it taught me a lot about who my friends were and who stepped up and who was there for me. And I thank you to all the friends and family that stepped up and really kind of got me through this and helped Chris get through this, because it was a scary time. There's no doubt. I'm not going to lie. It was a scary time. But thank you for all your prayers. And thank you for your friendships and your love. I really appreciate it. But lots of lessons here to be learned. Get a second opinion. Have a second biopsy. And when you do your, get a PET scan. Get a PET scan. They're pretty amazing. They're not great and fun to have because it's really small. But get a PET scan. And then also when you get a 3D mammogram, if you have a history of it or if you have this gut instinct, you know what I'm talking about. If you have a gut instinct, maybe ask for an ultrasound, because they were able to see the spot on the ultrasound that the PET scan brought up that the 3D mammogram did not show. So make sure you talk to your doctors, ask lots of questions, request second opinions, and lots of prayer. So I hope you all are having a great day. I just wanted to share the fabulous news with you all. And Merry Christmas.